Previously on the $10,000 drag shootout.
A lot of our parts have not materialized yet.
What would you do if I gave you $10,000 to build the quickest drag car possible in only 10 days? 4 teams, 1 race, 1 winner.
We don't do anything good, we just kind of do everything half-assed. This is the first thing he's done all week.
I want a beer.
I told you I was right. I don't think I hit the right button.
The experience of last year has helped me look at things from a little bit different perspective.
There is so much shit happening right now. I did it to cop a slide, so then I backed off.
That's pretty stout.
It made 11 horsepower.
We're not here for a long time. We're only here for a good time.
It's day 8, and Team Bigan finally has all the parts they need to assemble their big block Chevy. But is it too little, too late?
This year you got 3 LS turbos and we're the only big block nitrous combo. It was kind of the slowest combo last year, but we've seen a lot of potential in it. They are a harder motor and right now they're harder to get parts for, it seems like, than LS stuff.
Team Bigan went with a 505 cubic inch big block Chevy power plant under the hood of their Granada. A cast crank from Scat and I-beam connecting rods from K1 complete the bottom end of their big block.
So Team Bigan, their big block Chevy, has got a crank late in it. And it looks like Pete's just getting ready to put the caps on, get this thing torqued down, and she'll be ready to hold some serious freaking power. We have Pete Harrell. He has been working on these cylinder heads relentlessly, and they're coming out really nice. I think he has one head done, and he's finishing this one right now.
The cylinder head is crucial. It's where the power comes from. We're building a big block nitrous combination. Where I got started, I mean, just like anybody years ago, I did a bunch of nitrous stuff. I'm not a nitrous guy nowadays, but I'm not alien to it either. Power's power, you know. It's just a huge amount of power that has to be applied very, very carefully.
Team Bigan finally has their rotating assembly and cylinder heads ready to go. They have a lot of ground to cover to make up for lost time. Luckily, they have all the other parts they need to get this big block bolted together and mocked up in the engine bay of their Granada.
They look really good. It's a shame they're still going to get outrun by 290 cubic inches, though.
With a set of ProMax cylinder heads, a direct port nitrous system from NOS, and a 1050 CFM Dominator carburetor from Holley, they have the potential to make a lot of horsepower.
The nitrous and the cylinder heads are only asking one thing of you and everything else in the car. Just keep up with me. Just for the love of God, don't give up on me. I'm in, dude. I just need all the rest of you to keep rowing the boat. There is no cooler carburetor than a Dominator.
No.
I don't care who you are, that's rad.
Fragola provided all the plumbing for each team. The premium black nylon race hose will feed all the fluid these cars need. The Series 2000 ProFlow fittings are a perfect match for plumbing engine oil, coolant, and transmission fluid.
We're not, behind, but we're further behind than what we would like to be.
A full ignition system from E3 is supplying the spark their engine needs. Moroso wanted to make sure every car is safe going down the track, so they kicked in battery cutoff switches, cables, and battery boxes for each team. And to make sure these cars have the voltage they need, Dyno provided a compact, lightweight 12-volt battery for all 4 teams. Team Bigan finally turned their motor over, but it looks like they have a couple of mechanical issues with the engine they need to figure out before they can fire it up. And they're running out of time. Midwest's engine is a stock 4.8 LS, from the block to the pistons. They opened up the ring gap and ported the heads. A set of ARP head studs and a custom comp camshaft brought the whole combination together. An 80mm Borg Warner turbo, matched with a Chinese wastegate, is providing all the boost they'll need for this stock LS engine.
Lucas Oil is providing each of the teams with everything they need to keep these high-strung performance racing engines running as smoothly as possible. Each team is running the 1040 racing oil. It's a new zinc technology. It dissipates heat. This stuff is perfect for racing applications.
Compare fuel to fuel, the C16 and the E85 are really, really close to each other in a boosted application as far as capability. However, C16 being gasoline-based requires a lot less fuel system, and once again, it comes down to budget. So working with a small budget, big injectors are kind of out of the question, and it also allows us to get cheaper fittings because we can do a -8 feed instead of a -10 and then do a 6 return, on and on. It has big budget benefits.
All 4 teams are watching to see what the Cutlass can do on the dyno. It's time to see if all the trash talk pays off.
Two huge things happening. Team Bigan, you can hear them trying to start the car, and here we have Team Midwest Mayhem on the dyno, and there's still more than 2 full days left.
The stock 4.8 sounded good on the first pull. There's a lot of smoke coming out of the back of the Cutlass.
They made their first pull on the dyno, but it looks like the tire was touching somewhere in the back, a lot of smoke. They might have smoked the rear tire, actually messed it up.
After a first pull on low boost, it sounds like the LS turbo power plant in the G-body is making some decent power.
So I just saw the number, and even dragging a tire pretty much the whole way is a pretty good number. And what were you guys trying to accomplish with that very first pull?
So we just wanted to kind of shake it down, run it up a little bit, make sure everything is stable, and really find out what kind of boost it was going to make on spring pressure only. We're using dome control boost, so we have CO2 pressure on top of the wastegate. That was none. Just what the spring in the gate will make. Made about 8 pounds of boost, 550 horsepower, 290 cubic inches, pounds of boost.
Pretty good. So I want to see what happens now when you turn it up.
We went to 7,400 on that one. He said it was smooth in the car. It felt good. So that was actually higher. We were going to go on the first shakedown hit. Power was staying perfectly level. The car was smooth. Engine's happy. So
we'll go from there.
8 days from start to finish to dyno. I threw it right on there, went right to making poles to 7,400 RPM with no issues.
It made 11 horsepower. I mean, yeah.
So I knew they had looked at it, and I seen Chad over talking to the camera.
They probably think that we're just a bunch of dumb people from the Midwest that are just, you know, putting a junkyard engine in a car and thinking we're gonna go fast.
Get something to sort that out.
We just saw the number. Really similar to the last run. They added 2 degrees of timing, didn't pick up a bunch. They'll probably go back to the, couple degrees less timing and then start upping the boost. See if we can make some more power.
The whole big block scenario from the get-go has been a struggle.
Everybody's under a lot of pressure right now. We're still a little flustered, just some stupid wiring gremlin shit not going our way, and these guys are behind you on the dyno. I mean, that car sounds like it's running good. They're not experiencing any problems, so they're ahead for sure. It makes you feel behind. For the guys that haven't fired up yet, I bet they're feeling a lot of pressure.
The Dream Team is still hard at work on their Mustang, but they still have a ways to go before they can fire the car. Pressure is starting to build.
We're just grinding it out right now, in general for all of us, not just one person. But we have a set goal, and we all know what we need to do to, meet it.
The Dream Team's building a Turbo LS for their new Edge Mustang.
So out of all our Turbo LS builds, I think our team has by far the best one.
Picked a 5.3 engine out of a Suburban, used a Lanati 6125 rod. The engine obviously has a comp cams, hydraulic roller lifters, stock valves. It's a stock 5.3 liter cast crankshaft. So we put a little concrete in the block to try to stiffen up the bore. Molly pistons at 11.8 to 1 compression ratio. We got a really trick piston.
We started with 3800 because of the total seal ring selection. 3800 is a very common Buick V6 turbocharged application. So there's tons of rings in that bore size. So it is a tool steel nitride top ring and a standard Dyke style second ring. And we went with a little thicker ring because of the turbocharged application. So we went from the stock 3780 to the 3800, which give you a 20 thou difference, makes the bore straight, ends up with a nice piece to select from. Some of the cool things on our piston: anodized ring groove, anti-detonation groove, lateral gas ports, vertical gas ports, and then we wanted a certain amount of compression. So that's where the valve reliefs come into play. We first started at about 12 to 1, ended up I think at 11.8 to 1 with our chamber size.
The Dream Team decided to keep the stock cylinder heads and give them some love with all the bells and whistles from comp cams for valve train stability. They picked up a used ball bearing 80mm precision turbo, a precision wastegate, and matching those with their Harley HP EFI system and E3 ignition coils, they'll be able to control the boost from the turbo and the power from the engine without an issue.
We also got speed wire to kick in for an 8-switch panel, 8 relay panel. It's backlit. That should make the wiring pretty easy for us, pretty straightforward. That's going to be a good deal.
The Midwest boys are ready to do another dyno pull and see what kind of power this Junkyard 4.8 will make.
These are the kinds of moments that get me really excited. Once they get on the dyno, they start tuning. I get to see the nitty-gritty stuff on the laptop. I get to see power numbers. Dude, I love this stuff. They just revealed the numbers to me, and it made more than 700 to the tire on that last one with 5 more pounds of boost. So what did you guys do before that run?
So on that run, we kind of find a place where we're on gate, which is about 10 pounds. The timing was not really increasing horsepower, so that's a good indicator that it's where it wants to be. That's where the engine's happy, regardless of what the number is. So we backed it back down to where we were before, since it was a minimal gain, and wanted to start figuring out what it's going to make for boost. So started putting some CO2 pressure on top of the wastegate, just about 7 pounds on top of the spring, and see what that makes for boost. Unsure how much boost it picked up yet, but there was
He says 5.
It picked up 5, so that's good. So 15 pounds of boost now or so, and enough horsepower that these teams should start getting scared.
Enemies everywhere started their LS turbo build with a 6-liter truck block.
So the engine's around the 366 cube, somewhere around there.
So they went with the Eagle connecting rod, 6125. I'm guessing the 2100 or 927 pin. L19 bolts. Yeah, L19. So that's a L19 ARP connecting rod bolts. That's a serious rod bolt.
The guys from Comp Cam's have been awesome.
Comp Cams kicked in custom camshafts for each team.
They gave us their latest development lobes. It's 638 lift, 251, 260, 117 centres. It's a general lobe for a hydraulic roller, and they say we can run it easily over up around 8,500.
Enemies went with a rectangle port cylinder head to gain as much flow as possible.
We've also gone to the LS3 head, which no other team has done.
They've got far superior airflow. You're looking at around, I think it's around 250, 240 CFM out of the LS1 head versus 320 standard out of the L92, L76 style head. We've done a bit of work on the exhaust side to pick up the flow. I think they're about 180 CFM standard on the exhaust. They should go around 225, 230 on the exhaust pretty easy.
They got the biggest LS motor by far. Enemies located their precision wastegate on the turbine housing of their 80mm Borg Warner turbo. It's a common practice in Australia, and it'll help them control the boost going into their 6-liter LS. Aluminum exhaust pipes from Spectre finished off their setup, and it looks wicked under the hood of their 4th-gen Camaro.
We planned this from when Spectra come on board, which supplied us all our aluminium. We decided very early to run aluminium dump pipes. And it looks really good because the Spectra stuff, it's awesome, it's polished, it's really well made. A few people, seem to think that we're going to blow holes in it with the heat, but we run them back, aluminium back in Australia.
Yeah, the boys from down under have a pretty serious setup. Over on the dyno, Midwest is trying to decide how much power they want to lean on the car for this next pull. They've already made over 700 wheel horsepower, and they're not even leaning on it yet.
I think they're probably underestimating us.
That's how you make well over 1,000 on a stock headed LS.
I know what 1,000 horsepower is like. It ain't that. Like we were supposed to jump up and down.
Well over 1,000 horsepower. Stock LS.
Clown. And so he's going on about, Dyno numbers don't mean nothing. When everyone in there white, stone faced, like shocked that these people, they think we're cutting corners and think we're morons.
So Midwest Mayhem just made their last pull for the day, maybe for the whole week, I don't know, on their Cutlass, and the final number was 885 to the tire. They didn't get crazy with boost, they didn't get crazy with RPM, and they're gonna see way more boost, way more load, and just way more power at the track. So that's a pretty stout number. I know there's more boost left in the turbo, It's solid. It's solid.
Team Bigan has been fighting their big block all day. They need to get the engine fired up and dialed in if they want to make it on the dyno before time runs out.
The Wagon special. Wagons are cool. Daphne loved to drive hers. Her last race week was hard because she literally had finished radiation, and nobody in the world would have expected her to ride in a 66 Bel Air station wagon. And I said, we can drive in the Suburban, we'll hook the trailer up and we'll go in the Suburban and you can be comfortable that way and all that. And she said, no, we do not trailer my car. Daphne's thing always was that you had to drive the car. So that was the point. It was a big car. It could haul all her stuff. We'd go on race week in it with all of our tools, all of our spares, everything we could need. And then that's why station wagon's cool. You know, it's utilitarian. It can haul a bunch of stuff. And the moonshine missile will haul a bunch of moonshine. I'm telling you. Daphne would be proud of this one. She'd think it was pretty cool.
Next time on the $10,000 drag shootout.
Man, I'm back, baby. I'm back.
It's hot in here.
It's me.
No.
Oh, you. Yes,
No,
it is.
no, it ain't.
It absolutely is. You remember, in 2015, I was the hottest man in drag racing for 28 seconds. And you can't take that away from me, and neither can anyone else. The hottest man.
True.
Smoking.
How long ago was that, though?
You.